Hello and welcome back to the podcast, We Are Selling. Today, we're going to have a discussion around marketing and around you, the agent. And my question is this: are you available for sale? Can I buy your services? And if I do, what do you look like? What do I get? What do I receive? And to assist me today, I'm bringing in Mr. Jordan Roach, who's one of our first-class photographers in this industry for our country. Jordan, welcome back.
Thanks, Lee. Great to be back.
Now, from your first appearance on We Are Selling, we had a great response, but in you and I chatting off air, we were discussing how agents put so much effort into the marketing of the home and the floor plans, the site plans, the videos. Everything looks amazing, but when it comes time to market themselves, it's like a old black and white photo out of a house from 20 years ago, meaning it's not at the same standard. You get to see this all the time. Take us into your views on what you are observing in real estate agent marketing.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. It does interest me, the whole psychology behind photography and how, as we know, agents and officers are very diligent in terms of their photography when it comes to a campaign for a house. Everything's got to be spot on. There's stylists coming in, there's, rearranging furniture, there's the photography and videography, and everything's got to be bang on. But yes, when it does come to their own personal brand, it is lacking as a whole. I'm not saying everyone is like that. When I look online, I can pick random offices as I do sometimes just to check out what they're doing, and there's a bunch of photos that are badly formatted. They may have been old and they're stretched out of shape. There's black and white ones. There's photos missing, and I think, imagine putting a campaign out of a house like that. It doesn't look good. I know everyone's busy and everyone's, got 1,000 things to do, but it's almost like marketing of agents, a bit of an afterthought. When I'm going to a shoot, what I do find is that, everyone comes along, director pops in, he's like, right, let's just bang this out, bang, bang, bang. And yep, everyone's got appointments, and it's all this rush. To me, I just think, well, no, you guys have got to put more effort and care into this side of things, because there are people out there doing that, and there's no mistake that they're at the top of the field because their photos look amazing. And I'm not just talking about just a headshot, but there's a suite of images that they use which describe what they're doing and the type of real estate they sell.
Couldn't agree more. You look at the great agents who take marketing themselves seriously. And then in reverse of that, the consumer's thinking, okay, if you can't get that right, how are you going to get my house right? And I think that's a really interesting part of the conversation today. For the ones that do get it right, and Jordan, you're shooting photos all over the country for some of our most famous agents now, because that referral method of introduction keeps ticking along. What's your observations of the greats? What do they do really well, and the frequency of how they're updating their photos?
They've got clarity. They know who they are, and they're very confident in their own personal brand and what they want. And I think that clarity is something that we all need if we're going to do well at whatever business we're in. They're very clear about what they want to look like, how they want to show up, and what they're wearing, and what the team is looking like. They're on to everyone. It's like if someone's not dressed the right way or what, they take it very seriously. They understand the value of it. When you think about it, it's not a beauty competition, real estate. It's a trust competition. And it's really, as a consumer that's not in the industry, people are looking to agents as their trusted person to look after their biggest asset. And what a better way than to have a great set of images showing that dependability, where they can look upon these people and go, wow, they've really got their stuff together. They look great, but they look trustworthy.
This is such a powerful conversation. And a couple of things you've touched upon, coachable moments for our listener. And today, predominantly, the salespeople are listening to this. But later on this year, we've got you addressing the leaders of the country at the Complete Leader Conference. But one of the things that has really resonated with me out of today's conversation is that this question of who are you? What are you trying to get across to your audience? You mentioned, the greats have that clarity. They're very clear on that image that they're presenting. It's not a fashion parade. It's a trust situation where people look at that photo and think, okay, is that person dressed correctly for their profession and what they do? And do they care about that look and feel? Because that person dressed that way is going to be representing my most valuable asset, being my property. And a buyer won't take seriously someone who's got distorted energy, meaning they don't know who they are. And I've been speaking about this a lot in webinars of late, that everything in negotiation, all the good agents, and Jordan, you'd see this more than me because you are actually in the photography moment capturing it. The one great thing they all have in common is the energy they have. And if your energy's flat, your fees are flat. If your energy's up, your fees are up. And if an agent can't negotiate a good fee, they can't negotiate a good price. And in the middle of all that, they didn't negotiate who am I, what are my signals I send, and how can I communicate that through to my photographer of this is what I'm trying to achieve. So Jordan, you did the photo shoot for Robin and I, which I've used 1 million times in different countries in different ways. And I don't need to be on a bus, but because I'm business to business, but there's so many shots there that you perfectly were the director for us because we told you what we were trying to achieve and then you made that happen. But even when we finished that photo shoot, I booked you straight away. You're going to be at the Complete Salesperson course to redo those photos for us. And there wouldn't be, 6 months in between that, but 6 months is a lot of time.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like at the moment, it's a little quieter around the traps because it's winter and it's cold. And, I just did have a little holiday in Bali, so I was lucky to get away. But just coming back, to that cold weather and, everyone's kind of hunkered down. And the thing is, it's going to come October or the busy period, I guess, and then everyone's going to be scrambling for, I better get, my stuff together and no, do it now. Like get it done now because you're going to hit the ground running ahead of the competition. I'm always thinking of how to market and how to get out there and it is hard when you're the marketing yourself. It kind of comes down to self-love in a way that, I don't know how many people come up to their photo shoot and say, I hate photos and I look terrible. And no. There's all this negative self-talk. And I think without being on ourselves, so to speak, it's more about just having self-respect and saying, no, I'm going to look my best regardless of how I'm presenting, if I'm a bit overweight or whatever. I don't look the same way I did 20 years ago, but I'm going to look my absolute best that I can at the moment. I'm going to get some new clothes and I'm going to turn up and I'm going to show people that I have confidence.
Jordan, this is so powerful. Just before our shoot, you mentioned to me, how about you get some new suits? I think new clothing for a new photo shoot makes you feel different. And again, it brings in this clarity that, I don't look like I did a year ago. And the clarity around who are you, what are you trying to project comes into that. And you're so right. People say, I hate videos, I hate being in photos. And you think, hang on, how's that serving you? And they go, what do you mean? That self-talk right there, how is that serving you? And imagine in real estate, you said, I hate offers coming in. I hate getting paid commissions. How would that serve you? Because it's no different to how you're serving yourself. If you're going to be in professional real estate multimedia marketing, it starts with you. Let go of all this baggage of how you feel and it's this and it's that. No one likes their own appearance or the sound of their own voice because they're listening to themselves in isolation, yet you're completely forgiving of the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I just think, there is a lot of that self-deprecation, and it's a bit of an Aussie thing too. It's almost, I was thinking about this, and if it's kind of like, oh, you think you're good, do you? It's, if you put yourself out there, or if your mates mock you a bit and all that. But really, what they're saying is they're giving a little prod to say, is this the real you? Is this what you're really like, or are you just pretending? So you've got to people have got to put themselves in a position where they feel good about themselves and they present that way, because like you said, it's an energy thing. And if people are feeling that your energy is lacking or your confidence is lacking, they're not going to use you to represent them and, sell their house.
I just had a great experience on this one, Jordan. This week, I had to buy a brand new commercial, very large van for the company because we're fitting out a mobile recording studio. And I'd been to a couple of the car yards, all good, typical sort of car salesperson coming to approach me, and their energy's there and they're not dressed well, and they're selling cars, and maybe it's not what they really want to do. That's what I'm picking up. Anyway, I ended up buying the car off a brilliant young female from Yamina, funny enough, and which is your hometown. And she was just a pleasure to deal with. Her product knowledge was great. I didn't feel like I was in a car yard speaking to a car salesperson, and she was fantastic. But it was her energy. She was dressed well. She had we bought a Ford Transit, the big boomer, and she had her Ford jacket on with her identifier, but she was proud to work for Ford. And then she did the onboarding of all the technology, and you can start it on your phone, and she just knew it, had the energy, and you'd refer her in a second. And this is, in that scenario, then we come into real estate, and people are not self-serving. They're putting themselves last. They're living with guilt about, I don't want to be too good, or I'm not like that. You're in the marketing business. You are like that, or you should be like that, or maybe question what you're doing.
When you're describing this young lady who's sold you the Ford, you can tell she likes what she does. I love what I do personally, and that's why I think I've done well. Apart from, I can take a good photo, but it's about loving what you do. And if you don't love it, then you might want to think about a different career, because you have to love what you do.
And then you've got to capture that in photography and video and project it. Now, funny enough, you just got prospected yourself by someone who didn't know who you were. Take us into what happened.
So I got called the other day from a local agent. Let's just call him John. I'm not going to name names. I can't even remember his name, to be honest. And he just called me up and said, "Hey, Jordan, I can see you're at XYZ property. How much would you accept to sell your house? Give me a dollar figure." And I'm like, hang on. I'm like, mate, where's the romance? He's just come in there and just cut to the chase. And I'm like, I'm not even in a position. He didn't even ask me if, I was, in that position or I wanted to sell. But my point kind of was, well, I don't know this guy. So, imagine if I've been seeing this guy around the place on signage or DL card in my letterbox with a great image of him in the local area, etc. I do some work for one agency here in Yamina, and the team there are really all over their images, and I've got them up everywhere, and it's a completely different feel. Like, imagine if he had that resource, I guess, where he's putting himself out there, and I said, "Oh yeah, John, I've seen you around, and I've seen your stuff, and you're on that billboard, aren't you?" It's a warm call. It's not just this cold, jolting call from someone I don't know hitting me up to sell my house.
And this, Jordan, comes back to that beautiful part of claiming doors, warming up the data, and then connecting that to the property in leverage, and then having your visuals and your social. And on social, we've got that rule. Every time you post, is it info or ego? And you look at how the greats do that, and they're presenting to the marketplace what's going on, this is what's happening. It's not about me, it's about me within the market. And I think once you get that clarity around that, it'll all come together, and how the difference, but it's got to start with you. Because, Jordan, I feel for you sometimes that incredible photographer, got all the gear, got all the skill and talent, then someone comes up and says, mate, I've got to get out of here quick. Can we just get this done? That is what this audio is about. You've got to give yourself the time and give yourself the chance. If anyone was selling a car, they'd detail it, they'd empty it, they wouldn't touch it again. They put it in a position where everyone can see it because someone's about to drive it. Yet we come to sell ourselves. Are you actually for sale? It looks like you're closed because you rushed your photo shoot. You didn't give thought to the clarity, direction, and the signals you want to send. And that's the biggest thing I wanted people to get out of this podcast today, Jordan, I know people are going to go back through this, but take yourself seriously as a marketing asset who generates income on behalf of you and your family.
And there's another point, I'll say offices, when I go to shoot a whole office, it's actually a great event for your team. Like, people don't think of it this way, but there's many stages. There's we're having a photo shoot and everyone gets a bit nervous and giggly and, and then I send them a pack with what you could wear, like an info pack, and then they said that's great. They go out and they buy some new clothes. So there's levels of energy lifting, and then the day of the photo shoot, and then I make sure that everyone throughout the whole office feels important for their time with me. So, and then they get their photos and then they share their photos, and then there's interest. And at that time, it's a real team building and an energy lift for the team, and it's a morale boost for the team. And that's how people should approach that. It's like, instead of going out to the pub with your team and having a few beers, have this great little event, have your little chats in between photos of people, and really a time where everyone can just relax in between, getting their photos taken, and have a fun little event and an energy lift for your team.
What a great tip. And Jordan Roach, you're going to be joining us at the Complete Salesperson course 18th and 19th of September. We look forward to seeing you there. And for anybody else who's trying to get hold of you, Jordan Roach Photography, that is where they'll find you. Jordan Roach, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Lee.